Look, Commanders fans, a lot of people are talking about my boy Brian Robinson, right? And a lot of people are saying that he's not your East-West running back, right? And we all knew that. We all knew that coming in when he came here. We already knew that he wasn't one of those guys that was really shifty. But we knew when it came to third downs and moving the chains and really beating up the defense, it was him. We would count on him, right? And a lot of people are maybe changing their minds about who he is because of Christopher Rodriguez and the game he had for us and how he came in clutch when we needed him. And I think guys, we are jumping a little bit too fast, because if we think back to a time when we didn't have Brian Robinson this season, and for I think it was about 5 games we didn't have him. My bad. I think 4 games we didn't have him. And for those few games that we didn't have him during the times we played the Steelers, or when a game where we played the Giants and we didn't have him, if you notice, not one of our running backs reached 100 yards in those games. And the reason was because you need a running back that can do it all, you know what I'm saying? Or you need a running back that can do a little bit of both, Of course, a prime example of a person that can do it all is Saquon Barkley. But you also need those other players like Gainwell to make it a little bit different, Of course, they're kind of like the similar running back, but I would consider Saquon Barkley to be a person who can do it all. He's shifty, but he can also beat up the defense if he needs to. And when it comes to what we have Austin Ekeler. I would consider him one of those fast, very elusive running backs. I wouldn't consider him super shifty. I would consider McNichols. I would consider him more shifty than Austin Ekeler, but I would definitely say that he's very beneficial to have. And I think the staff knew coming in, Cliff Kingsbury knew that we needed something extra, so that's why we brought him in. We brought him in to, aid Brian Robinson in the things that he couldn't do well. Like, he's not very shifty, but he does give the offense a different perspective. He gives the defenses something else to look for. Like, oh, all right, we know if we got to tackle Brian Robinson, we know he's 6'1", 6'2", and he's heavy. He's a heavy back. And we know we have to look out for him. We can't just say, all right, cool, we got him, we're going to lock him down. Because that's what happened when we went against the Giants or the Steelers. And they locked down Austin Ekeler. And even when we had a moment where we had Christopher Rodriguez, we had him, lead the offense. He had 11 carries, and I think it was like for maybe, I want to say it was no more than 60 yards. And it was like, of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because Christopher Rodriguez can do his thing. He's good. But I wouldn't put him above Brian Robinson. And it's a reason that he's a backup. It's a reason why we put certain people ahead of him. It's 3 other people ahead of him. So it's a reason why. But I think Cliff did a great job at using him when he did, because it gave us some space and it gave us like some breathing room to actually do what we needed to do and use him how we wanted to use him. Nobody knew we was going to run up the middle, or we were still going to run when he came in. No, they probably thought we was going to go for a pass or a play action, but it worked out. And, when he came into the game, he definitely benefited from what we already had going, and we also benefited from him and what he contributed. When it came time for us to call on him, he came through. And that's all you can ask for. I think what we have is perfect. We have a guy that can beat the defense up, and then we got a guy that's shifty, and then we also got a guy that's elusive and that can get out of there, and that's a fast back, and that just has enough energy that we need for our offense to benefit them. And then not only did we bring Austin Ekeler in to be a different type of back than Brian Robinson was, but we also brought him in because he can catch. He can catch. And that's why we got rid of guys like Antonio Gibson, guys that were prone to fumble a lot. And, of course, Antonio Gibson could do the things that Austin Ekeler does, but Austin Ekeler does it better. And he brings a lot. He brings a lot of energy, too. And I think that's what really got us started on the right foot this season. Like, because of what he brought to kick return and what he brings to the offense as a whole was perfect for Jaden Daniels and his development and just get him started. And for him not to be here right now is it's okay, because Jaden Daniels has gotten on the right foot. He's going now. He's good. And he don't need a certain person to be there, but it does benefit the team to have those certain people. So Austin Ekeler does play a role, but Austin Ekeler is not here right now. So we have McNichols, we have Christopher Rodriguez, we have guys like that. So like the same goes for Terry McLaurin. If Terry wasn't here, this offense would be terrible. If Zach Ertz wasn't here, this offense would be just mediocre. Like, for example, Noah Brown. Noah Brown is not here, but we do have a guy like Zacchaeus to step up and bring something different. And you see how in the last 2 games that we played against his prior teams, and I'm talking about Zacchaeus, when he went up against the Falcons and we went up against the Eagles, he's had 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards. And he's really shown that he can be a great second receiver when Terry is locked up. But I'm not sure if I can give him the crown over Noah Brown this season, because Noah Brown has definitely done his thing and really come through for us when we needed him. And I told you, I said it before, that Noah Brown is D. Wade when it comes to football. D. Wade was very known for the fact that he can draw fouls, and those fouls would definitely help him and the team get to where they need to be. And that's what Noah Brown would do for us when he draw a flag, and we would go down the field. And not just draw a flag, but catch passes. He was definitely reliable. I'm not sure if Noah Brown will be back next season because of his age and because of the fact that, we're probably going to have a lot of talent out there. So, and we have a lot of money. So we're probably more than likely going to probably spend it and go out and get someone, maybe the guy from Bengals, T. Higgins, if they don't return him to the Bengals and sign him. We might end up going to get him. But what I'm saying from this is that pump the brakes for a second. Understand that Cliff Kingsbury, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, they all knew going into this season that we needed something extra than just Brian Robertson. But that's why the system we have like that 1-2 back. You know what I'm saying? One guy does this thing good and this other one does this thing good. It's just like a whole complete offense. That's what you want. You don't want to just rely on one person for everything. That's why you hear about people talking about, oh, this is like, think about the Eagles, for example. They have a 1-2 punch at wide receiver. They have a 1-2 punch at running back. They have guys that can come through when other guys need help. Like, for example, last game we just played against the Falcons, Terry McLaurin got locked down. I think he had 5 yards. I think Jaden Daniels decided to throw his way about 7 times and only got 1 of them. That's what happens. And I think it was I think his name I want to say AJ Terrell. I might be wrong, but he locked him down. He did a wonderful job. That's what happens. You have those games where your number one receiver gets locked down, but then you also have someone else to aid him That's where the wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1B comes in, and he takes over the game. And that wide receiver 1B was Zacchaeus, and most people would call him wide receiver 2. But he did phenomenal. He did a great job, not just this game, but the last game as well. And it happens. But when Brian Robinson can't do his thing, then we have Austin Ekeler come in, or we have Christopher Rodriguez come in, or McNichols. But it just showed that through so much adversity, Jaden was able to still win the game. And then the fact that he didn't just stop there. Think about when we have these guys there, how it opens up the entire field and it opens up everything. And then the fact that Jaden runs really opens up the offense for us. Allows us to move and do a lot more than we could if we just had a non-mobile quarterback, or a quarterback that just doesn't get out of the pocket as much. And that doesn't really do well under pressure. And also, I was just thinking, like, I think we just have to just appreciate where we are and what we have. Because right now, this is what we have. And Dan Quinn has come in his very first year. Not just Dan Quinn, Josh Harris, Adam Peters, and, Cliff Kingsbury have done a lot with this offense. I think we have to just appreciate what we have. Stop trying to ask for more right now. Right now, we just got to appreciate it. We're headed into the playoffs. We're about to be, hopefully, 12-5. And we've gotten this far with what we have. Stop complaining. Just enjoy it and appreciate what they've done for us. They've come in and turned this franchise around in 1 year. And it's like, bro, it's nothing to complain about. We have everything we need. We just need to go out there and continue to win. And, of course, it seems like Austin Ekeler might be coming back, probably not next game, but he's probably going to be back right when we start the playoffs. So that's good news to me, because then that allows Austin Ekeler and Brian Robinson to do their thing again and really add more to the offense. And, man, I'm excited for what we have. I never thought we would get this far, this close, and this early. But Jaden is phenomenal. And some of these games, most of these games have been won because of him. Like, of course, in the beginning of the season, he was still trying to get the feel for everything, build up his chemistry with guys, and really get in the flow of things. Like, remember the first game that we had against the Giants? It wasn't phenomenal. He didn't score anything. It was strictly our kicker that won the game. But then these last few games, that he's been coming through. Ever since the Bengals games, he's been going off. That was his coming out game, and he's been going off ever since then. And that same game, was when Brian Robinson went over 100 yards. And just think about it. When Brian is not there, guys are not going over 100 yards. And he's had 3 of those this season. And he's been injured for some of the season, so he's missed a few games. And it's just like, I'm sure if he's been in those last few games, he would probably be over 1,000 right now. But he's still contributing, and he's still going hard and giving it everything he's got. And we just have to appreciate it, bro. And I think guys are wanting so much so early. Like, of course, we're going to get great. We're going to be great. But don't act like that's a handicap for us right now. It's not a handicap for us right now. We know the most important thing we need right now, we're going to figure out next season. Because this season, we ain't worried about it. Like, of course, we already knew, but the most important part was cornerback, because we've been seeing Michael Davis and Benjamin St-Juste draw so many fouls that it's like, penalties. That is, it's just like, I think that's what's usually most of the time beating us up, and those penalties that we drawn on offensive line. But even through all of that, Jaden is still finding a way to win. And then I think maybe most of this talk about Brian Robinson has come out because of the last few fumbles he done had. And, I think that's some of it. But believe this. Adam Peters, if he decides to do something with Brian Robinson or get rid of him, then we know it's something wrong. If they don't move him, if they don't trade him, if they don't get rid of him, then he's good. And of course, who knows what it's going to be for Austin Ekeler next year. I forgot how much we signed him for or how long, but I don't know if he's going to be here next season. I think he's one of those guys that we brought in for a 1-year deal, but leave it up to them to figure this out. Right now, we're good. We're good. He didn't fumble last game, and I'm happy about that. So let's just look forward and be happy about Austin Ekeler returning, because he's going to allow Brian Robinson's game to go up as well, because it makes a difference when guys are not there, and it makes a difference when guys are there. So just understand that we're doing great. We're doing phenomenal, bro. We're doing great right now, and just appreciate what we have. And let's see how far this team can take us. Let's see how far this coaching staff can take us. Let's see how far this ownership can take us. Appreciate y'all, man. Football is not everything, but you only live one life, and you only have a few moments in this life to live. I'm saying it all wrong, but you get where I'm going with this. Read your Bible, talk to God, find some time, read a scripture. I'm out.